Hi everyone. Welcome to the Dynamic NFTs section. Before we begin, we just wanted to introduce ourselves. So, Greg, you want to start?
Hello. Hello, my name is Gregory Marcilhacy. I'm the founder of OneMint and NFT art generator. If you Googled how do I create an NFT collection, you probably landed on our website. We're the #1 ranked art generator. We launched in September 2021, and so far we generate thousands of collections for projects. So if you own an NFT, there's a chance it was generated by us. We also offer tools to deploy smart contracts, create mint pages, SDKs, and we started working on dynamic NFTs last summer, which we're going to talk about.
Yes. So, hi everyone, I'm Louell Sala. I previously co-founded a dynamic NFT platform called Fractio. Fractio actually enabled digital creatives to connect digital assets, basically NFTs that react to external Oracle data. So we actually use Chainlink for that one. And we also did, last year I also did Spatial Oracle. Spatial Oracles enables researchers to actually build geospatial images that react to an external weather oracle data. So think of it as, let's say, for example, if in New York City, right, you take an image of Times Square, and then you actually have an image that is specific at that point in time. And then you can connect that. You can have, of course, memories with that one. But it's very fascinating. And last year, we also did this project called Pixeland. Pixeland, basically, it's an offshoot of Subway Surfers. And what we did was we really tried to create a marketplace for dynamic NFTs, which I think very, very timely and something that a lot of us are trying to do right now. So with that, I want to ask the first question. What is dynamic NFTs? And the main problem that we have right now is really how to make it accessible. Greg, you want to start?
Yeah, so I've seen many definitions of what dynamic NFTs. My definition is basically wearables. So I can update my PFP, meaning, let's say I want to swap the t-shirt that I got, I don't like it, I want to customize it and change it with color because red is my favorite color. So it's the idea of having an NFT that can evolve over time, either passively, so it evolves on its own, or actively, where the owner can swap traits and upgrade it, basically. So this is my basic definition of what dynamic is.
How do you How do you make it accessible? Because I know we've been talking about it at the speakers lounge today. So yeah.
Yeah. So if you think about all the collection that we've seen from the past 2 years, there's static NFTs, meaning the metadata and the images never changes. If you want to create this yourself, you can use tools like ours and many others today. You can also deploy it on your own. It's not very hard, and there's a lot of documentation on how to do it. However, building dynamic NFTs requires a lot of engineering expertise in many fields, like blockchain, of course, but also traditional engineering development. So one, it's not approachable at all. So what we do, we build tools at OneMint that makes it incredibly easy for any project, existing project and new projects, to turn their collection into a dynamic collection. So to make it more accessible, one is those types of talk to introduce the concept of dynamic NFTs, building tools like ours to make it accessible, and creating content online about what it is, the problem it solves, and so on.
And the problem that it solves, right? I always liken dynamic NFTs to, because I come from the healthcare field, I always liken it to a combination of your right brain and your left brain. So just imagine if you're able to connect those two brains, if you're able to connect your technical aspect, the right brain with that of your artistic or your abstract thinking, just imagine what it could actually do. In its strictest sense, of course, because we have to contextualize everything, we define dynamic NFTs as a type of NFTs that react to an external data. So that data could be an oracle, and that data could the NFTs could change, the image could change, the NFT image could change, or the metadata could actually change based on an external source or external oracle data. We liken blockchain, if you're in the healthcare field again, to something that's very aseptic. So you're not supposed to touch it, right? You're not supposed to destroy the integrity of the chain. So that's why we have these oracles to actually help us identify any or create changes on your NFT. So yeah, the next question that I wanted to ask was, the difference. Of course, we were talking about that, but what are your thoughts on generative NFTs?
Yeah, so there's many different types of dynamic NFTs. The first one is like more art project, where you start with an art piece and it evolves over time, either through an oracle, and from the oracle events, the art can evolve, or from the artist himself can change the metadata or change the image. And as the owner, the NFT changes passively. I'm not doing anything, it just changes on its own. What I like about dynamic NFTs from an active standpoint is that it engages the community. Like, it's super important when you reach the mint day to keep your community engaged and active. And the way to do that is to create traits. Traits are dynamic NFTs, and that allows them to evolve their NFT. They keep their NFT, and they stay within the community, and they stay engaged with the NFT.
So this is interesting because actually 2 years ago, I was talking about this. I was actually part of the generative NFTs panel, and then eventually they sent me to, because I was talking more about dynamic NFTs. There's this, so I always say, like, we have this strict definition of what we think words are, right? Before, when we talk of dynamic NFTs, they're very specific that it has to have some external oracle. And if we define, for example, generative art or generative NFTs, we always think of it as just autonomous system creating art, basically. So we want, as human beings, I always say that we want to extend that definition. We want to be able to create a new definition of how generative art should be defined and how dynamic NFTs should be defined. And I think it's important, from a technical perspective, that we can actually use both, we can combine both, and we can actually create something that's much more deeper than how we define, let's say, generative or dynamic NFTs. Because there's always going to be areas where those two, coincide, but at the same time, they're part of each other. And the next question that I wanted to discuss was, do you have any sample cases and potential uses for dynamic NFTs? Because that's the primary.
Yeah. So before I answer that, I just want to give my perspective on the value of dynamic NFTs and the two problems it solves. The first one is engagement, and the second one is a consistent revenue stream. Engagement, I talked about it briefly a minute ago. The mint day shouldn't be the end of the project, it should be the start of the project. And how do we keep a project alive is keeping the community engaged. And one way to keep the community engaged is to reward them with traits and allow them to customize their NFT, because that's what people like to do. They like different colors or different hairstyles, and you can achieve that through dynamic NFTs. And that's what the platform we built allows. The second one is revenue stream. So as we know, royalties are almost non-existent anymore. With dynamic NFTs, again, you can either sell traits, you can sell your traits and build revenue that way, or you can airdrop traits. It's up to you. But dynamic NFTs solve some of that problem, which is, how do I keep my project alive and have revenue over time without launching a new collection next month, and another one next month, and so on?
There's actually it's fascinating because actually last year also we did this project. It's called Pecunia. What Pecunia did was, it was a cryptocurrency estate planning which used ZK snarks, and we use dynamic NFTs there basically as a term of identity, in terms of identity. So for example, if you wanna give money to your heirs, right, you have to change the metadata. So we use dynamic NFTs in that aspect. My concern was really with regards to safety. And I mean, how there's a lot of cybersecurity questions right now with regards to the integrity of the chain itself. How do you respond to those? Yeah, those. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so in order to enable dynamic NFTs, the difference with a static NFT is that the metadata is stored on a server rather than IPFS. Because the server is owned by the project owner, they can stop paying their bills and then the image and metadata is gone, or it can be hacked. So there's always trade-offs, but the benefits and the value added to me are greater than the potential loss. And if you look at existing projects like Doodles, they exactly built that. They built dynamic NFTs and they announced it at NFT.NYC last year, and they launched it on the Flow chain a couple months ago. It's exactly what it is. It's wearables. Another use case that I didn't discuss earlier is gaming. Like, if you imagined Fortnite or Counter-Strike or any types of games, those games are free, but people buy skins. And a skin is a trait, is an NFT. And that technology allows exactly that. So you can start a game and over time create those skins through NFTs. And that's what a dynamic NFT is as well.
So yeah, one of the fascinating things about dynamic NFTs is its usage is specifically on the gaming industry. There's a lot of projects that I know of that are doing it. Recently I just came out downstairs. Valerian Games is actually doing the same thing. But I think the challenge really that I see right now is because you have to understand what you're actually saving in the chain itself is just the transaction hash, and you still need to have an off-chain, right? What's this? A centralized, I know, server in a sense, right? That you store your your metadata or your images, for example. And that's also a key security concern. And yeah, do you what are your thoughts on with regards to royalties?
Yeah, so I briefly touched on it already, but what happened, I think it was last September around that time, I think the first marketplace that dropped royalty completely was LooksRare, I believe, and then Blur came out. And then it was a race to the bottom on all marketplaces. Magic Eden, OpenSea, of course, they all dropped their royalties, meaning all those projects, all the revenue from royalties dried up, and they're basically minimal today. So that's why I'm pushing and advocating so hard for those projects to consider dynamic NFTs and traits, introducing new traits to complement that revenue loss. It's a fun experience. It's a fun, customizable moment that you can provide to your owners, and to me that has a lot of value.
So with regards to, because we talk about you're talking about the reward aspect, right? But with regards to the technical aspect, how would you?
So. Unlike existing projects, it's really hard to build a dynamic project. You actually need an engineering team or you need a partner like our platform. There are really few people working on that problem and make it accessible. So if you're looking to do dynamic NFTs or you want to discuss it, you can reach out to me and we can talk about it. But it requires many areas of engineering expertise, as I talked earlier.
So yeah, you have to know not just not just Solidity smart contracts, but basically factories. We're talking about
Yeah, so you need expertise in blockchain. You need expertise in building web services. You need expertise in how to generate the art, because when you swap a trait, you need to know how to regenerate that NFT with the new traits. So there's a lot of details and expertise needed to get to a dynamic NFT.
With regards to what's this? With regards to creating marketplaces, because that's actually that's what we did, but we did not like what's this? We were not able to successfully build it because of course you need a team for that one. What are your thoughts on that, and how do we make marketplaces, especially for dynamic NFTs, safer?
Yeah, so on our platform, when you launch a dynamic collection, you actually have your own marketplace for your own project. And that matters because when you browse existing NFTs, you need to understand which NFTs have something equipped versus something not equipped, because that changes the value of the NFT itself. The second thing is, if you own NFT, you want to be able to customize it. So we have an NFT detail page where you can see your NFT like any other marketplace. However, you can look at all the trades that are compatible with your NFT, and you just click buttons to see a preview of what that NFT could look like, and then you can mint your trade and equip it. So on our platform, you can already do all those things.
How hard was it to actually build it? How many of you?
So we're a small team. We're a team of 4, but we started, I think, in June of last year, and it took us 4 to 5 months in engineering development and research to optimize the smart contract, build the marketplace, build the user interface, and things like that. So yeah, it takes a lot of expertise and time to build a good experience.
Yeah, I know. So do you have any last words? I know we're off of time, but do you have any last words with regards to dynamic NFTs? And I want to talk about the potential. Where can we use dynamic NFTs?
Yeah. So to me, there is no doubt in my mind that most projects in the future are going to be dynamic, where the art or the metadata is going to evolve. There's always going to be a place for static NFT. Static NFT for me is like all the art pieces, the one-of-ones. It makes no sense to make those evolve. They're art on their own, and they don't need to change, and there's always going to be a place for that. But in the future, I see dynamics, NFT I see all collections be dynamic. I think one example that was discussed was like loyalty programs during the previous talk, airline tickets. Like if an airline ticket is dynamic, it has to be dynamic because it shows your name, it shows where it goes, it shows your where you're coming from, your ticket number, and so on. All that is the technology of a dynamic NFT, and I think we'll see adoption. It takes time, everything takes time, but in the future, most projects are going to be dynamic.
And another application that we were discussing was in terms of digital identity. So how we change, right? We change. We have our metadata changes every now and then. So it's actually very useful to use in digital identity. And in fact, that's what we did with our project, Pecunia. Any do you have anything else to add?
No, I think we're supposed to be 4. We're 2 today.
Yeah.
So we're cutting it short. If you have any questions,
if you have any,
feel free to ask any question.
Yeah, we're opening the field now for questions. Yeah.
It's called 1 Mint.
No questions? Questions? Yes.
So imagine that I bought the ticket, so it has my name, it has my ticket number, my seat. Let's say I'm not going anymore, so I want to swap it with someone else. I want to sell it. That ticket needs to have your name on it, not mine anymore. So because those values are changing, it's what makes an NFT dynamic. Because values are changing, the ownership changed, now it's yours, so the metadata and the image needs to reflect that.
So, yeah. We
Yeah, you're
always,
welcome.
yeah, we always think of the chain, blockchain itself, as something that is septic. You know, like you're not supposed to touch it because any changes that you do will, you know, will show. So that's why we have that's why you have oracles, and when you use oracles now to cause changes in your metadata, then that's, you know, that becomes dynamic NFTs. There's so many uses, as mentioned. Ticket is only one of them, but it can be used also in digital identity, in reward systems, anything that actually changes, we can use dynamic NFT.
Yeah, I think one example for the ticketing that I like is, let's imagine we're all attending NFT.NYC today. Let's imagine each of us add an NFT, and for each year that I'm attending, I get a special traits. So I could have my NFT wearing a swag from 2021, some other swag from 2022. It's like making it really special and unique. So
And also, but the hard part with that one, because we did it in our marketplace before, was really every time you cause changes, you're using an oracle, right? So an oracle costs money. For example, Chainlink right now is something around $4, four to 50. There's also, but I know there's a lot more oracles that are out there, but every time it says you use an oracle, that's tantamount to a charge. So meaning it's really hard to market it, especially for artists, especially starving artists, because you know it's gonna cost. That's one of the learnings that we've had when we created Fractio, because it's expensive when you use when you use dynamic NFTs, and you need, you know, I mean, every change, for example, if you use the price of Ethereum, if you have an artwork like we did, for example, we have a Picasso painting that changes based on the price of Ethereum or the price of Coke. It's visually appealing. It's so good to look at, and you know, you could always tell them about you know, the price of Ethereum on that specific point in time. But again, the problem that we got was really it's expensive. So that was one of the things that we learned.
thank you so much.
So with that, thank you so much, and yeah.